Hey guys, this is Ankit and welcome to the Google Cloud Platform Task series. We will be doing a list of basic tasks to get ourselves familiar with the Google Cloud provider, that is GCP. We will be following the DevOps Engineer and SRE learning path, which is available at cloudskillsboost.google/paths. You can always refer to my repository, the Cloud Terminal 01/learn-devops to get more details. So in today's task, we have the following objectives. First one, in which we will explore the default network. Second one, in which we will delete the firewall rules and the default network. Please ensure that this is only for testing. You should not be deleting the firewall rules and the default network in production or any other environment which is being used by internal teams or your customers. In the third case, we will create a VPC and the VM instances inside that VPC. And in the fourth case, we will explore the connectivity between the VM instances. The total amount of time for all these tasks will be around 12 to 15 minutes, give or take. Because while doing these tasks, I had to cut down a lot of different parts of the videos wherein the GCP console was taking a lot of time to respond. So let's begin. Let's start with the first task, which is exploring the default network. We will check out the subnets, we'll check out the routes, and we will have a look at the firewall rules. Let's go to the VPC network. So this is our default VPC network. If I click on this, I'll be able to see all the subnets which are present in different regions. Note that each of the subnets have their own internal IP address ranges. Let's check out the routes now. Routes tell the instances and the VPC network how to send the traffic inside the network and also outside of Google Cloud. Also note that there is a default internet route available, so if any traffic wants to go to the internet, this is the route which it will follow. Now let's check out the firewall rules. So these are the default VPC firewall rules. The first default allow ICMP says that anyone from internet can actually ping our instances. That's why we have the filter as 0.0.0.0/0. The second rule says that all internal communication for TCP protocol for ports from 0 to 65,535. Similarly, communication for UDP protocol and ICMP protocol is allowed for all the IP address ranges which belong to this CIDR. This pretty much means that all the internal instances can communicate with one another. Same way we can interpret the default allow RDP as well as default allow SSH as well. This concludes our first task. So now let's do one thing. Let's try deleting all the firewall rules and all the default networks. So first I'll select all the firewall rules and click on delete. So firewall rules are deleted. Let me go to VPC networks. Click on the default network. Let's delete this VPC network. So now all the default networks have been deleted. We have also deleted the firewall rules. So if I go to routes now and refresh, note that there are no routes available because we have deleted all the VPC networks and also all the firewall rules. Now let's try creating an instance. So I'll go to Compute Engine and click on Create Instance. Let's keep everything as it is and click on Create. We get an error saying that we don't have any networks available. So if I go to Issues and search for networks, I see that no more networks are available in this project because we deleted all of them. Let's create our VPC network now. So I'll go to the VPC networks tab and click on Create VPC network. Let's give the name as My Network. We'll keep the description empty. Let's keep the subnet mode creation to automatic. So it will automatically assign the IP address range to all the subnets in different regions. I will select all the available firewall rules and let's click on Create. So the VPC network is created. Let's try creating the instances again. Create instance. Let me give the name as this. Let's keep the regions as US Central 1 and US Central 1C as the zone. We will give the series as N1 and this we should keep as F1 micro. Let's keep everything as default. Let's create another instance meanwhile. The name of this instance will be this. Let's select the region as Europe Central 2 and zone as Europe Central 2A. We will select the series as N1 again. Machine type will be F1 micro and let's create. So now both of our instances are created. Let's SSH into US VM. Now I'm logged in into the VM. Let me select the internal IP address of Europe VM, which is this one, and let me ping this. As expected, we are able to ping because we have set up the firewall rules accordingly. Let's try pinging the external IP address. Now let's try deleting one of the firewall rules and see what happens. So I will duplicate this tab. I'll go to firewall rules. I will delete the firewall rule which is applicable to 0.0.0. So the rule will get deleted now. The firewall rule is deleted. Now let's go back to the terminal and let's ping the internal IP address. Let me copy the internal IP address again. I will go to the VM instances and copy the internal IP address. So as expected, we are able to ping because we have not deleted the corresponding firewall rule which enables internal communication. Let's try pinging the external IP address again. We get 100% packet loss because we deleted the corresponding firewall rule which enables ping from outside the network. Now let's delete the other firewall rule as well and let's see what happens to our ping. So we will delete this firewall rule as well, which is responsible for the internal communication. So the firewall rule is deleted. Let's go back to the terminal and try pinging again. Let's ping the external IP address first. As expected, there is 100% packet loss. Let's copy the internal IP address and try pinging the internal IP address as well. As expected, we are no longer able to ping the internal IP address as well. Now let's delete the SSH firewall rule as well and see whether we are able to SSH into the instance after that or not. So I'll go over here and search for SSH firewall rule. And I will delete this one. So the rule is being deleted. Let's go back to the VM instances. Let's close this session and try doing an SSH again. After deleting the SSH firewall rule, when we try doing an SSH into the instance, we see the following error. As you see on the screen, it says that we are unable to connect to the VM on port 2022. So we can try this from our local as well. We can do a tailnet test with the external IP and see whether we are able to connect to the instance or not. So if I do a tailnet to the public IP on port 2022, it will get timed out because the port is not open. So that's it for today. See you in the next video.